YouTube. So I'm looking super trashy right now, really homeless, and kinda, you know, I've been having to work on my house a lot lately. That's why the videos haven't been updated, and I've been working a lot of hours like usual. But I finally have a video for you guys. I promise I'll try to look better for the next one, but I'm trying to match the whole theme of the current condition of the car that you're gonna see in this video. It's been a big old loop of fails. So this is gonna be like a two-part series because it'd be a way too long video, and I'd like to get a couple videos out of it. This is my blue turbo car, and you're about to see all the money that I just wasted on it. And I have parts for sale now. I don't know if I really want to ship them though, because they're kind of too big, but hopefully you guys learn from my mistakes in this video. That's kind of like what my YouTube channel is, just learn from my mistakes. All right, so these are some original suspension with like 225,000 miles, I think, on it. It's crusty in here. This sway bar is ugly. I shouldn't be driving this in the salt, but I can't help it. There's original. It still feels pretty good, except the back suspension, you'll see in a little bit, is really rough. I'm gonna put some BC coilovers on this. I'm not gonna show you guys the process. There's a million videos of that on the internet, and most of you guys probably have already done it before. I'm just updating you guys on what is happening with this car. And these suck. Okay, here's the rear suspension, and how did that not break? I mean, look at that. That's crazy. And it still felt all right, so that is surprising. This is the main reason I'm doing suspension, because I seen this. So now we got BC coilovers on the car. I always end up lowering my E46s. I can never keep them stock, even when I say I'm going to. Unfortunately, this car is rusting. That is part of living in Indiana, and I have hard motorsport flares for it. Not only doing flares to get rid of the rust, that is the main reason, but I'm also trying to get some more clearance for some actual wheels and fitment and tire, since this is a turbo car, and I do want to put more power down someday with it, but these tires and this rim ain't gonna do it. And you can see, I mean, still pretty solid, not too bad, right? But this arch will be coming out, and I'll be doing hard motorsport flares, and I'm going to actually try to paint them myself. So we're gonna see how this goes. All right, I just got one out of the package, and the reason you want to spend the money on like hard motorsports and stuff is for fitment. So I haven't even done anything to this flare yet, no trimming or anything, and it fits perfect. I just have it sitting in here right now. I can move it around and get a better fitment like that. But I have these on my red car, as most of you probably know. So here's my sedan, and these are also hard motorsport flares, but these are for the sedan, obviously. I actually got these used. I was the first to actually paint them though. I didn't paint them, I had a shop do it. Doesn't really match. It's like a Mola on Hellrot, so that's pretty cool, right? But I got new flares for this car. I got Musk overs, but this car needs to run first before I do that. I'm just showing that these are some nice flares. The fitment of them is very nice, and I did rivets on it. Now, that's the worst part about when you do flares, is the rivets. But from a distance, I mean, they're not bad, being black. So they're supposed to be M3 spec, and the wheel and tire combo that I ordered for this car are for an M3, and they're considered aggressive and no spacers required. Like, so I have to do these flares to fit those. And another thing is, I don't have them outside yet, but I have fiberglass M3 front fenders. It hurts me to say it. Like, it hurts me to say it. Hurts me so much. Oh my gosh, I don't understand, dude. Like, why do people even want these? I don't get it. But yes, I have those for this car, and I'm doing this for function, not for, you know, trying to look like an M3. I'm not for that. I hate M3 bumpers. Most people know that. I mean, this bumper is absolutely shot on this car, and I refuse to get M3 bumper. I actually got a bumper that's the same color as this car and is actually the pre-face bumper. So right now, if you know much about E46s, it has a pre-facelift swap on it, and it still has the facelift bumper. So I got the correct one for that. But these M3 fiberglass fenders are going to require work, unlike these hard motorsport flares. These actually come to fit. Some brands, when you go cheap, you do have to do a lot of sanding or trimming or cutting to make them look good. So those are probably going to be the hardest part of all of this. But I've done this before back here, so this ain't going to be a problem. I'm going to show you guys how I do this. There are some videos online, I think, for like E36s and stuff. I'm sure there's plenty for E46s, but everyone does it differently. And I've done this twice now, and the first time I've done it, I learned from my mistakes. Second time I've done it, it's been awesome. So you don't have to listen to me. I'm just trying to give you guys ideas or just show you how I do things. But we're gonna go ahead and get started on that in this video. All right, so we're getting rid of this rust. All right, we're getting rid of this dent right here. We're getting rid of this rust down here. So we're gonna cut out this arch and put on that arch, obviously, like I just showed on the other side, except I'm gonna show you guys how I did this. I'm not a body man, just showing you what I did. Don't take this, like, don't save this information in your head. You can remember that this car is clapped, okay? It is not clean, all right? And it still won't be clean. It might be to some people's standards, but it still will not be clean. It's going to have the wrong shade on here, really close, the best I can do. And we're going to be using an angle grinder to cut it. Most people would probably use something more controlled, you know, but I don't have that. We're just gonna do it the way I've done this like 3 times now. I'm just going to keep that right there, and you just start cutting. Once you start cutting, it doesn't hurt anymore. Like I did those 3 little scratches there to get it off my chest. It's always a little weird, but if you look at the rest of the car, it doesn't even matter. Okay, so obviously that's your inner fender here. Probably gonna cut it about right here, maybe up a little higher, so I can fold that inner fender over and fill in this gap and take off a little bit of paint up here and tack weld it all the way around, and then paint it with POR 15 or POR 15, however you guys say it. And then I use that 3M seam sealer to seal it. That is the most important part. You really don't want further rust. The whole point of this usually is to get rid of rust. Some people don't care. I do. And then I like to try to paint around the seam sealer when I'm done, just in case I missed any areas in here that I may have took the old undercoating off. So that's what we'll do. All right, so next you grab a hammer. I'll show you what I'm about to do. I cut that inner lip off, and you kind of just notch these a little bit. Don't go too far, because you're going to go too far into the actual wheel well, and you don't want to add more welding than you have to. So people are probably cringing right now. But basically, you do this and you get them all to touch really good, and then you just tack weld. I usually do 2 tack welds on each of these flaps, and then once you get that nice and tight, you can add in your seam sealer. Well, or you should actually paint it before you seam seal it, because, you know, seam sealer would probably be all right, but paint, you're putting it on this bare metal instead of just seam sealer. I'm gonna drill holes in the flares here soon and rivet them on, but this is the final. I actually POR 15'd over the seam sealer just a little bit, in case you know, I missed any raw metal, which it didn't look like I did, but so I have pour 15 over the seam sealer, and I figured pour 15 is so thick it might actually, you know, seep into places like in there and stuff like that and help seal it. And then I did about an inch or so of pour 15 on the inside of the wheel well of the seam sealer, once again, just in case from cutting my slots and welding if I miss any spots with the seam sealer. So that arch is done. The other side I haven't even touched yet. And then I took all the rust off here, and right now I just pour 15 on it. Same here, pour 15 on it. And then I had a spot, I don't even know where it's at now, right in here, that was rusty, and I cleaned it up. You can barely even tell. And then this spot here was really bad. I'm lucky that I was even able to get all the rust off that. You can barely tell there. And then this was the worst spot of all, and I have pour 15 on it right now. Once the pour 15 dries, I'll use my cheaper color match that I have on it. It doesn't even really matter, but it'll be a second coat if anything. And I'm going to leave this open, and I am also going to make sure, well, I already made sure my drains for this were clear. So I'm gonna leave this open and now my drains are clear, so hopefully it won't hold water or moisture. All right, so that's all repaired down there. You can barely even tell it was ever rusty now, so that's awesome. Now, what's not awesome is this arch kind of looks like crap and it doesn't match as good as I hoped, but I'm tired of fighting it, and it's still better match than that. Except mine is obvious that it was spray painted. It could probably be wet sanded, but I am not messing with it. And I had to put an extra rivet here and here because it was bowed out way too much, and it's still kind of bowed out right here too. But I don't want to keep adding rivets because I hate rivets. And I'm trying to get this bumper to fit right. But you can see there's a huge gap there. And I didn't know, but these things came with these, and I'm pretty sure these are for, yeah, these are for like spacing this bumper out. So I gotta mess with that yet, but it's about to rain and I got some crap to do. So I'm just gonna deal with this and accept the way it turned out. I'm really happy about my rocker though. If I set the front down, another issue here is this isn't at a 90, this bevel isn't, it's at like a 45. So I'm sitting the front down right now, and I'm still not even able to reach my mounting holes. There's not enough here, and they're at a 45, so they're gonna split so bad if I tighten those down. And that's with the front down level here. So if we go back here and look at our gap, I mean, I can move it back a little bit. There we go. So it's not really that even of a gap, you know? And then once again, I can't even really reach these because it's like a 45. This ain't even a 90 on this piece here. I sure hope that falls off. But there you go, there's kind of a better reference. I can move it back a tad. Obviously, the only way you're gonna get used M3 fenders is if the car was probably wrecked, so the fenders are wrecked. This one is perfect, other than it has a ding right there. But I have like little spot putty or whatever, so I gotta sand these and paint these anyways, so I can easily fix that ding. I can actually feel the ding from the inside of the fender, so I can probably just knock it out. This car's gonna be 10 different colors, man. Tell you what. The wind is terrible. But back to this again. The wheels I ordered were for an M3, like they're spec'd for an M3. Aggressive fitment, no spacer. That was what I ordered. And not a shot. Not a shot. These don't even look wider than stock body. Something's wrong here. I don't really think I installed them wrong. You really can't. And I just don't like the way they're cut. They're not cut very good. Like this is really long over here. They're really flat. I just don't get it. So what do? Well, click tuning overs. They're not musk. I didn't want to wait for musk. I actually have musk for the red car here. Not to that yet though. But these are click tuning overs. They claim they fit really good on their website. All right, I'm not gonna hate too much here, but I am kind of upset. I don't really like this, like the way it fits the door there. and I went all the way here, like I fit it. If I went all the way here, then I'm gonna have a gap here, and it's not gonna line up with the bottom here. I don't know. I just had to go one way or the other, and up here it's really close, and then it's not. I don't know. I can sand out a lot of this to make it look a little better, but I'm not gonna be filling in this gap and stuff. And then they're 2-piece, which is weird. I knew that when I bought it, but I don't really know how much I like it. You see that? And I got a rivet there and there, so there's really nothing I can do. They're not rivets, they're actually riv nuts. I bought these really ultra low profile Allen heads, so anyone can steal my flares. If you did that, I don't know, I guess if you had the same color car and a coupe, it might be worth it. And then this is a problem I'm having. I know drift guys are usually who run stuff like this, and they don't really care because they're like, send it, bro, it's just going into a wall. Well, it's not really the case, so I kind of wanted it to fit nice. And then back here, I mean, I followed this body line like I was supposed to, and then right here, like, is really tight fitting, and then there's the gap again. And I didn't want to flex this up because then I'd have a huge bulge there. I don't know, I tried. I did use riv nuts though, so I can take this off anytime I want and clean behind there. And when I get it color matched and painted, I can take them off to have them painted. So instead of drilling out rivets all the time, I'm probably gonna have to add in possibly a rivet every 5 inches. So 2 more rivets between those on the top, which I really did not want to do, but I could maybe get these color matched and it might not be too bad, the Allen heads. And then this up here needs body work. I got a good deal on my M3 fenders because they had a couple dings in them. I don't have my trim pieces in. This isn't even bolted up yet. All right, so this isn't even bolted up yet. And I should be able to move this all the way to the left and basically just nail that fitment. It's really not a big deal there. So that's not gonna be too bad. I did paint that stupid mesh part black because it looked like it had buck teeth. So I kept this silver though. I do like that being silver, it kind of looks cool. And then next issue here is the bumper itself. I don't want to chop it like everyone who runs the click tuning. I really don't want to. So I was gonna go from like here, like start from here and cut to here or whatever. I'm just gonna trim it where it's still, hopefully this part right here meets up with that little ledge. And then I have the Hard Motorsport bumper brackets where I can mount that bumper correctly. This is going to have to be the fitment. Yeah, not happy about it. Because look, you think, oh yeah, get a spacer in there, you know, you're gonna tuck that tire. I mean, I'm tucking a little bit, not much. You know, you're gonna tuck that tire. Nah, look at that. I trimmed the lip away right here, and I got my clearance, but I mean, that's probably gonna rub. I can probably trim it a little bit more, but I can't go any lower. And I can't run a spacer to fill in this gap. So I got another issue here. Not really a issue because I've already found a solution to it. It's kind of sad, but it'll all work out. If you know, M3 front fenders aren't only wider, but they're raised. So the actual flare on the fender is higher up. I mean, you can tell that because, you know, a body line on a non-M goes all the way through, but not on M3 fenders. So I had plain BC Racing coilovers on this car, and I had them maxed out in low. The rear actually fit really good, but the front, I could not get any fitment out of it at all. Like, I still had a pretty good gap between the tire and the arch. So I went ahead and pulled those out. Luckily, I have a set of BC Extreme lows there on the right, as you can tell. These are actually maxed all the way out. They may not look like it, but it's threaded all the way down and it's bottomed out in this housing. This here, well, you should never even sit that low. So these actually came off my red car. I got these used. My red car did not need these. So like, I never was even close to where this is adjusted right now. These are gonna work way better on the red car because I'm using non-M front fenders on it and just my wheel and tire combo. These are what I really needed on the red car. I just got a good deal on these So I'm gonna put these extreme lows on the blue car since I'm trying to go lower, since I have different fenders, since I have different tires, all that. So hopefully people don't get upset for me parting out the red car. I'm technically not, we're just trading parts here. So I guess the only thing left to do is slam it, because that is not credit card fitment whatsoever. So I have to keep working at it. If anyone needs some spacers, hit me up. I have all kinds of sizes now.